welcome to a new Garage of Dad, and today I've got a bit of a treat for you. If anybody's ever wanted to put a vinyl roof on their car, then that's what I'm going to do today. So this really is it's quite an easy job, but the A2 is a bit more difficult in that it's rounded that way and it's also rounded this way. But the wrapping vinyl is very forgiving, and the kind of wrapping vinyl I use it's called KPMF Air Release. Now this is as cheap a wrapping material as you can get, and I'll put a link in the description below. But this stuff's really good in that I'll just show you. That's the backing off, and it won't stick down properly. You know, it'll come off. You can keep reapplying it until you actually put pressure on it. See, it'll come off there, but it's stuck down there now. So that's the beauty of this material, and it's just a bit more forgiving, you know, for when you're pulling it tight at the corners. Now the tools you need for doing this job are initially to give it a clean, and if there's any bird droppings or dirt or mould around the rubber, I just use Home Bargain's Finest Astonish. You can get dedicated cleaners, but they're about £10 a pop, and this stuff's only a couple of quid. Then I give it a clean with window and glass cleaner, and a final clean with brake cleaner. And you can, just before you do it, you can give it a going over with a tack rag. If you've got any tar and glue, I find it I've been doing this for years, and I find that Auto Smart's tar and glue remover's the best. I never have a problem with that. Tools you'll need? Well, normally I would use magnetic holders, but obviously the A2's an aluminium roof, so I'll just hold it in place with masking tape. Good pair of scissors, a cloth squeegee, because this doesn't leave any scrapes on the vinyl, and it's very pliable, as you can see, for getting into the grooves. A harder squeegee with a cloth edge in it, and this'll just pop it in round the edges. And then a really sharp modelling knife, and this is one I use because it's got a lovely handle on it, and it's got little snap off blades, so you can always keep it razor sharp. And that's about it. And as I said, anybody could really do this if you've got a good eye for detailing. And just on a nice calm day, I mean, it's an overcast day today, but there's no wind, which is perfect. If it's a sunny day, then especially with the black vinyl, it'll want to stick like mad. And I'm doing this outside, you know, on the A2, which is fine. You know, if I had a really decent car, I'd be doing it inside. But I've done loads of vinyl. I've been doing vinyl for over 30 years, and I'll clatter this on in half an hour easily. The likes of a Mini Cooper's more difficult because you've got to stretch it around the edges, and this might be a wee bit tricky because the roof curves both ways, but we'll see. And I'm going to do it in real time, and then do a little voiceover and tell you exactly what I'm doing, because there's ridges on this car, so I'll have to heat them in with a good heat gun. Oh, that was one thing I missed. You need a good heat gun. So let's just clatter on with it and see how we go. Well, I have to say, for one person, that was actually quite tricky. It was worse than a Mini Cooper. But I forgot to point out that it's better if you have an assistant, because they can actually hold it taut while you squeegee down, and if need be, apply a bit of heat, you know, and stretch it, and then squeegee it down. But I've had to do this on my own for years, graphics, so I'm kind of used to it. I kind of make it easy, and there's a lot of sort of to and froing and lifting and putting back down, you know, because I'm just doing it on my own. That's just how I do it. And but now that the bulk of it is on, I'm going to go around and pierce all the bubbles and push it in down in the edges, and then trim it right round the whole roof. And you can see I've just covered it to the edge here, and there's actually a little crease in here, and I don't know if you can see it, but to get that out, all you do is you just lift it up. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. You hit it with a bit of heat, that takes the crease out. Pull it back down tight and just squeegee it out flat, and that takes that out. And to get bubbles out, if I can find one, here's one here. You've got a bubble in there, you just pin prick it with that and then just push it with your finger, and that's the beauty of the air release vinyl, in that it'll let you do that. There's another crease here, so I'll just put a little pin prick in it and just get my nail and just push it out. Push out your nail and it's gone. And there's another one, and you just push it out your nail and it's gone. And you do that over the whole roof, and if you do get a bit of dirt in it, can't see any, but there might be a little one here, you just pin prick it again, give it a heat, and squash it down flat, and it magically disappears. Now what I'm going to do now around the edge is I'm going to cut it slightly wider than the actual edge of the roof. Peel that away, and because there's a little rubber strip in here, I'm just going to cut it to the windscreen and peel that out the way, and then you get the hard squeegee and you just squeegee that in. Just keep pushing it in all the way around. When you come to the corner, you can either cut the corner like that, or you can heat it in. Just depends on the size of the corner really. And then squeegee this in all the way around now, as good as you can. Then once you've done that, you give it a heat, And this is where I use the hard edge of the squeegee and just really force it in there. Really force it down onto the join. And the last thing that I'm going to do is just cut it with a really sharp knife, just right around the edge like that, just taking your time. And right against the rubber here as well. Something's pushing right into the rubber. And then it should just peel away. Like that. Heat it again. And then push it in with the squeegee. A final push right into the rubber. So I'm going to do this round the whole roof, and then that will be it finished. there you have it, my new vinyl roof, and it's not bad considering the speed I was going at to do it. But you really do need the help of an assistant, especially to hold it tight. You know, if it starts to crease up, if you hold it tight and then use the heat gun to stretch out the vinyl again. But this vinyl's great because I mean I could take the whole lot off again and reapply it, and you just heat it and it just gets rid of all the little creases and marks and goes down flat. The worst thing you've got to watch out for is, especially if you're doing it outside, is the dust, because the glue on these vinyls is like a magnet to dust. But I've got it on a nice calm day and I've got quite a nice finish on it. The difficulty with this roof, as I said, is that it bends two ways, so you've really got to stretch it quite a lot, and it actually took about twice as long as it normally does, even though I looked as though I was going quite quick. And at times, you know, it looks as though I'm way out of control, which I possibly am, but this stuff is fantastic because you can always get it back to how you want it, you know, with a bit of heat and a bit of tugging, because it's pre-stretched and it'll shrink back into form. But you've also got these grooves to get over, so you hit the high spots and then hit the low spot, and then you squeegee out these parts here, and you just keep pushing them to the back, and if you do get a bubble you just pierce it and just squash it with your finger. And there's a little mark there which I can probably get out with a bit of heat. But on the whole, I'm quite pleased. It's quite a nice job. I do like a black roof on the A2s. I had a little A2 with an OSS sunroof, and I never really liked that roof. Well, one, because you're always expecting it to break, but when it was open it wasn't particularly nice to go along the road, and you could only really have it open when you were sitting still, and it had no aircon in it, so it used to get really hot. I much prefer the solid roof, and on the silver car I think the solid and the lowered suspension, I think the black vinyl roof looks great. So if you want to have a go yourself, please feel free to ask any questions in the description below or in the comments below. I'm quite happy to answer them. I'm quite far away to do it with anybody, but if there's anybody close at hand, I'm quite willing to lend a hand and you know, for you to get it down right. Just checking a wee edge there. Well, thanks for watching, and please subscribe, thumbs up if you like the video. There'll be lots more videos coming along very soon.